Ben Raymond, Chief of Police, Shreveport Police Department. Hey, Chief Ben, welcome back to KEEL. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Chief, the funeral arrangements have now been set for Officer Chateri Payne. This Saturday morning, Summer Grove Church, Juella, 11 a.m. There are some events. The public visitation, I believe, is Friday afternoon, correct?
Correct. So the public viewing will be Friday, January 18th, 12 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. at Winfield Funeral Home. That's located in the 3700 block of Hollywood Avenue, and then followed by the wake that evening at Summer Grove from 6 to 8 p.m. And then, as you mentioned, the funeral service will be Saturday, January 19th at 11 a.m. in the sanctuary at Summer Grove Baptist Church.
Chief, I hate to say this, but I've been through this a few times. You have too, I'm sure, where we have we've lost an officer, and the chief has put a plan together to have our community covered by other agencies while this funeral is going on. You've been working on that. Who's going to be helping you out this weekend?
Well, we're still working on the exact details of how many officers we may need. So as you mentioned, unfortunately, we have some historical basis in order to make decisions off of. We've been through this before, unfortunately. 2015 with Thomas LaValle, and 2010 with Tim Prunty, and I could go further and further back.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our officers have already stepped up and made the comment that I would like to attend the funeral, as all of our officers would, but I'm willing to work a patrol shift or work the parade or something. I'm willing to help out if another officer would like to attend and they need some relief. So we're aware that the city doesn't stop functioning when we have one of these horrific events, and so all of our officers have stepped up and said, we're willing to, you put us where you need us. If we can attend the funeral, then that's what we want to do, but if not, we want to serve whatever capacity you need us. And then we've had an outpouring of support from numerous law enforcement agencies. So you can expect, it's not, Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office certainly has jurisdiction in the city of Shreveport. You see them on a daily basis. You may see a few more deputies during Saturday's events. Certainly Louisiana State Police, again, you see those within our jurisdiction already, but you may see a few more. Bossier City, Bossier Parish Sheriff's Office have reached out. DeSoto Parish Sheriff's Office has reached out. So you may see a few agencies that you're not used to seeing that quite the number of officers and deputies from, but we're gonna have the city well covered, as well as have a excellent representation at Officer Payne's funeral services.
Chief, we have to ask, and I know there's not a lot you can tell us yet, but can you give us an update on the investigation and the hunt for suspects?
I really can't at this time. Unfortunately, any information that I would release, might be beneficial to the suspect or suspects. I can tell you that we have a group that's dedicated their time to this investigation. We've got a lot of support again from some outer agencies. Bossier Parish Sheriff's Office, Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office, Louisiana State Police, some of our federal agencies assisting specifically with this investigation. And so they're working around the clock, and I get updates on them from that investigation 2 or 3 times a day, just to make sure we're moving appropriately.
Chief, is the investigation at this point, is it so tight-lipped, even more so than anything that I can remember? Is it because that the death of an officer is involved, or is it more the logistics of that investigation?
Well, and I don't know that it's more tight-lipped than any other investigation. I think there's probably people asking more questions about this one than other investigations. So we've got several open violent crime investigations at this time that you just don't quite have the publicity for, since this was an officer. But it doesn't mean that we're working any of them harder or putting less effort into any of those investigations. So I think it's just because this one has drawn so much media attention since it was one of our own. But certainly we're not going to release anything in an open investigation that could in some way harm that investigation.
Chief, you've heard everyone in town talk about the suspect may have been her boyfriend / fiance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm naive here. If that indeed is the case, why would a bolo not be put out on this gentleman? Can you explain that? Some people say, well, we all need to see his face and be on the lookout for him. Explain why that's not being done.
Yeah, so we don't release a suspect information generally speaking, unless we have a active search warrant out for their arrest, or unless we have probable cause for their arrest. So if we identify a person and say this is the suspect, we know, we're confident that this is our suspect, then we will release that information. And until such time that we've reached that point of the investigation, we don't do that. So we may have multiple suspects at this point, and we're not going to identify any specific person until we're confident that that is indeed the individual that needs to be held responsible.
Have your investigators questioned this boyfriend?
He was a witness, and so I know that we've questioned him. Now, again, I don't want to go into detail about what direction that questioning may have gone, but certainly any witness to a violent crime, has been questioned.
Is there anybody that you want to question that you may think is involved whom you have not been able to yet find?
Not to my knowledge. I know we've questioned several people, and the pool of witnesses continues to grow with the investigation. Witnesses not necessarily meaning someone that may have been present that night, but just people that may have cursory knowledge of events that may have occurred. So I know that the investigators are continuing to talk to people who they think may have relevant information.
To say this was a domestic-related homicide, is that accurate or not?
It's not accurate at this time. So if we were confident that this was a domestic homicide, we would put that information out there. And the fact that we have not means that we're not at that point of the investigation to say that we know exactly what happened and this is our suspect.
Then to say that it was a stranger that shot her may or may not be accurate either, right?
Right. So there again, I couldn't tell you accurately whether this was domestic related or whether it was a stranger, because we just haven't reached that point in the investigation where we feel confident that we know exactly what person or persons were involved.
Are there other agencies, other agencies involved, like the U.S. Marshal's Office? They're pretty good at tracking guys down.
Certainly. So we have a contingency of agencies that we've been, have investigators assigned and assisting specifically with the investigation. And then we have a number of other agencies that are willing to help and just kind of waiting on a phone call if they have specific knowledge or some specific abilities that we need to pull in.
Chief Ben Raymond, what can the Shreveport public, what can residents do for this officer's family, for your department at this point?
I think prayers are always important. They're a good thing. Continue to show officers the support as we have. The community's been great. We've had members of the community offer, food and prayer, and I've got a lot of emails just showing their support. Continue to pray for Miss Lakeitha, Officer Chateri's mom, and her entire family, that God gives them strength and guides them through this difficult time.